Senhoras e senhores, boa noite. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's a pleasure for us to have you here in the Esfera House. É um prazer para nós recebê-los aqui na Casa Esfera, o seu ponto de encontro com os principais temas da COP30. E para apresentar o potencial brasileiro em parcerias com foco em sustentabilidade, eu chamo agora ao palco a Patrícia Ellen, que é a CEO da Latam Systemic. Por favor, venha conosco, fique à vontade. Aqui tem um microfone para você.
Boa noite, gente. Bem-vindos, bem-vindas a Belém. Por favor, eu sei que a gente já está aqui há uma semana, mas vamos celebrar um pouquinho que a gente está aqui, né? Vocês sabem que eu tenho um problema na minha família, né? Meu pai é sergipano, minha mãe é mineira, e eu falo que a melhor comida do mundo é a paraense. Imagina a briga na casa, gente. E outra coisa foi eu explicando para os estrangeiros os 5 tipos de texturas de farinha que a gente tem aqui, né? 5 no mínimo, geralmente, que vem no prato básico aqui em Belém. Melhor comida, melhor gente, né? A gente mostra que a essência do que é o Brasil, que é o acolhimento brasileiro com a eficiência do serviço. E eu ouvi de muitas pessoas aqui que já foram a muitas COPs, que essa é, de longe, a COP melhor, com a melhor estrutura. Fizeram muito para que a COP não fosse aqui, nos criticaram, nos atrapalharam, mas aqui estamos nós. Então, parabéns à população de Belém que fez isso acontecer. I will switch to English now. I was just saying, Nick, and everyone here who don't speak Portuguese, how happy we are to have you here, how hard it was to have this COP in the Amazon, in Belém, how many criticisms the population here suffered. And we are here, and we heard from many of you that you never had a COP, that you felt so comfortable, that you felt that the food was so good, and the people were so welcoming. So I was just sharing a little bit of what I heard from you. So I'm Patrícia Ellen, I lead Systemic in Latin America. I'm also the president of the AYA Institute and the co-founder of AYA. And what really matters is that I'm a Brazilian with the biggest family that any one of you will ever meet. In my last count, we were 115 people. So I'm a very proud Brazilian. And it was my dream to see, this happening here. So we chose to host this moment here because I'm very good friends with João Camargo from Esfera, who helped to renovate this beautiful place where you are. They reopened this more than a month ago because we had in October 12, the most important date that you celebrate in Belém. It's called Círio de Nazaré. You believe there are many people here now, but turns out that during the Círio de Nazaré, they have more than 1 million tourists coming here. Yes, I'm not exaggerating. So 1 month ago, we had a good trial to be able to host you here. So that's why everybody is more than ready to be so welcoming in this city. With no more, I will not take any time and not make an institutional speech about systemic. I will not talk about what's happening at COP, so I'm sorry to disappoint you. But you will have 20 minutes to listen to leaders that I really admire, that make all their way here to be here with us. The first one is Nick Stern, Lord Nick Stern. He's also the chair of Systemic, and I would say is one of the leaders that I most admire today in the world. He just published this week a book called About Green Growth. And Nick proves that there is a very famous billionaire in the technology field that got it a little bit wrong in his article when he said that, we can grow and help people without investing so much in climate. Nick proved the opposite, that without being fully dedicated to the green economy, we will not include the people. So I will invite Nick to do the opening remarks, and then we will invite a few other people here. This is not meant to be a formal gathering. We will keep you here for 20 minutes, and then we will go back to our happy hour, enjoy, connect, because we took a good care of the list that's here. So the people who are here are very special people, so make sure that you mingle, you go around, and you talk to each other. Então, a ideia é 20 minutos, gente, aqui, e depois aproveitar a noite nesse lugar maravilhoso, E aproveitem para conhecer pessoas que a gente tomou muito cuidado, fez a lista com muito carinho, tem muita gente especial aqui. Aproveitem para conectar, para se conhecer e para ver. Tem uma coisa só que eu queria que vocês prestassem atenção. Na minha porta, lá em São Paulo, está escrito colaboração exponencial. Tá? Amor radical, colaboração exponencial. Não tem nada que a gente vai conseguir fazer sem colaborar. Eu odeio competição e eu acho que, se essa vai ser a COP da implementação, a única forma é colaborar. Então, 2 metas aqui. Se divirtam conhecendo gente legal, mas também saiam pensando em novas parcerias. Se vocês fizerem isso, já valeu a pena estar aqui hoje. Agradeço de novo ao João Camargo, a Esfera, todo o time que nos recebeu muito bem, em especial a Denise da AIA, que garantiu que tudo isso fosse possível. Obrigada, Denise. Nick, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Patricia, for having us. It's such a beautiful house, but also such a beautiful part of the world. And it's my first time in the Amazon, and you know, it takes your breath away, and it's absolutely wonderful. And it reminds you what really matters. We have in our hands a different way of growing, a different way of developing. And it's one that can last. It's cities where you can move and breathe. It's a biodiversity and a biome that will nurture us and keep us going. And that's in our hands. It's in our hands to make happen, and it's in our hands to mess it up and destroy. And I think this is a key moment in the whole history of this story of the world trying to tackle these problems, which began here in Brazil in 1992, and where, you know, all those years on from there, and now we're at a moment of decision which is much more acute even than it was in 1992. Every time we look at the science, it gets worse. Every time we look at the technology, it looks better. And so this is an investment imperative, it's an investment opportunity, and it's investment right across the board. Human capital, natural capital, physical capital, and indeed social capital, that's going to allow us to take this opportunity, or our failure to invest is going to take us into a really difficult or impossible world. So this is exactly the place and the moment to reflect and to act. And I think the way in which Brazil has put this story together with, you know, the foreign ministry and the environment ministry, and, you know, from my perspective, particularly the Ministry of Finance involved, is a real first. We've never seen the Ministry of Finance involved, and what that is signifying in many ways is that people are now understanding the issue of climate and biodiversity and its role in development as essentially development. This is development that can last. It's sustainable development. So when we talk about climate action and climate finance, we're talking about development action and development finance. And that understanding, I think, has really been taken forward by the way in which Brazil has approached the COP and the way in which the different parts of government have come together, and their choice to have it here in Belém. Now, that's the way in which this is a critical moment for the state, for the whole process of development. It's also wonderful to be here in Brazil. I first came to Brazil when I was chief economist of the World Bank, and I got off the plane, and then before I went to sleep that night, I was in Maracanã, because they had done their homework and they had understood some of my enthusiasms. And that was the kind of welcome that I got. And of course, it was one that sort of it left me, like so many others, to feel that this is, in many ways, the center of the world. And it's the center of this discussion. Everything is here in Brazil. Now it's up to all of us to try to find a way forward. But I've never been more optimistic about what we can do, and I've never been more worried about what we will do. But this is the place to discuss that. This is the place to be inspired. this is the place to take it all forward and to really solidify and have in the whole essence of the discussion the idea that this is all about development. There's nothing separate. This is all about development. And I can't think of any better place for that advance to happen. So I do hope we take the chances and the opportunities that are being created here. And I thank you all very much for the opportunity again to visit Brazil, my first time in Belém, first time in the Amazon, and we will be back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nick. We will take all the chances, so don't worry about that. Now, when we started these discussions on COP, we had a few priorities a few years ago. We first, as Nick said, it's very important to have the means of finance involved. We said we need financing for climate. We heard many times, and Avinash said a few times, that Amar as well, who is here. By the way, we have a few of the leaders who are in the economists panel that are advising the COP presidency directly. There is a panel of experts that has been advising the Circle of Finance Ministers, and we have 3 of them here with us today. So financing is very important. Only 2% of the money that is invested today in private sector is coming to emerging economies. And if we connect that with the intersection between what comes to emerging economies and what goes to climate and nature, the numbers are quite small. That's why in this COP we are talking about the road from Baku to Belém to invest $1.3 trillion as a minimum in emerging economies in climate and $300 billion in adaptation. Since finance is one of the key topics, I would love to invite my partner who leads sustainable finance at Systemic, Mattia Romani, to share with us in 2 minutes what is happening at COP and what's the legacy that we are going to leave in this field. Thank you, Mattia.
Thank you, Patricia. So today, with Amar, Nick, others, we launched the IH-LEG report. It's 207 pages. So I have a slide deck that I will share with you. No, I'm kidding. I'm not doing it. 227. We have an extra 20 pages. Now, look, thank you very much for having me. I'll be literally 2 minutes, even less. I'm going to say that this is an important COP for finance. There's a couple of very important things that have happened. The probably most prominent one is the Baku to Belém roadmap, which was issued last week. Now, looking forward, it's incredibly important that this Baku to Belém roadmap makes it into the politics of this COP, and then it's carried forward for action next year. So whatever we can do to help do that will be time well spent in the next few days, so work hard on that. And the other thing I want to say is really celebrate something that happened today, which is that the presidency selected some of the key priority deliverables on the action agenda, and one of them is the Transaction Hub. The Transaction Hub is something that we created together with the Sustainable Business COP, and it'll be a way of accelerating 2-3 crucial deals and instruments in climate finance practically to make them happen. When we started it, we said, this Transaction Hub has one rule: no reports. It doesn't produce reports, it produces action. And it was through this instrument that we supported the IDB, I'm not sure Avi's here, on the Reinvest Plus program, which was launched earlier this week. We supported the Ministry of Finance with Mario on Eco-Invest. And we hope that this Transaction Hub, which has now been picked by the President as a key action, will survive this COP and makes it into the next several COPs to retain this element of action and delivery, which is really the spirit of Systemic as a company as well. So we're very proud of that moment. So let me leave it here and give it back to Patricia. Thank you.
Eu falei que ninguém ia se cansar aqui, que ia ser rápido, hein, gente? E desculpem que a gente está falando em inglês, eu sei que a língua do nosso país é português, mas a gente trouxe muita gente de fora para estar aqui para fazer parte dessa conexão, então vocês desculpem, tá? Eu esqueci de avisar que essa parte está sendo gravada, então todo mundo não está agora na TV nacional, não. Está sendo gravado mesmo, mas é só aqui, tá? Então quem não quiser ser gravado é só ficar atrás das câmeras ali. Bom, se falou muito de finance, se falou muito aqui de como a gente precisa colocar os países emergentes no centro, given that also Nick said that this is very special because we are talking about finance, we will in a bit listen from the Treasury Ministry a little bit about finance. But before, we all said and promised that this COP would be the COP that puts people at the center. And we are in nature, but in nature, in this forest, we know that we have millions of people who need opportunity. Brazil is a very special country, but we also are one of the most unequal places in the world. So we do have a legacy to leave in this COP, which is to show that we can talk about climate and nature and turn into reality a more human-based economy. With that, I will invite my dear friend, Lisbeth Stier, who is being restless leading the Green Skills Task Force. Lisbeth, welcome. By the way, Lisbeth and Andrew, they have a flight to catch. They have their luggage here, but they made sure that they would come to talk to us. Thank you, Lisbeth.
Thank you. Well, we wouldn't want to miss it because this COP has not been only important for finance, it has been really important for people. Some years ago, I started going to the climate meetings when I was working with Gordon Brown on education. And I kept going to these meetings and I asked the question, where are the people? Where are the investments in people? And it wasn't discussed that much. So I am really happy to say that this COP, I've seen a remarkable difference. Not only has the presidency put this issue at the heart of the discussions, but also we were able to deliver some really great analytical work. I'm really proud to say that Systemic, together with other partners, was able to launch a major report on jobs and skills for the new economy. And also we were able to deliver some fantastic work on Brazil that actually looks in detail at what are the implications of this transition for people? What are the implications for jobs, and how do we get people ready for this? There's so many things that you take away from a meeting like this. One of the points that one of our partners from LinkedIn was making was we need to try and find the rivers, because if we want to make an issue like people relevant, we need to try and be part of momentum that's being created on issues, whether that's restoration or the energy transition. We need to make sure that we integrate that in those rivers. We were at a beautiful museum last night, and I discovered that not only are we close to this amazing Amazon river, I also discovered that actually the Amazon has flying rivers in the atmosphere that contain more moisture than the Amazon River itself, which is amazing. So where else could we be for finding these rivers? And that's what we'll be doing in the next year, is try to, if you are working on any issues that you are excited about, we want to be part of you. We want to make people part of your questions and your solutions. But I want to close by saying thank you, because I joined Systemic about a year ago, and I also started interacting with the Brazilian COP presidency about a year ago. And my goodness, what a wonderful journey it has been. And it's not only about the intellectual journey, but the journey of the heart and the friendships that we have been able to form over this year. And I'm so thankful for that. I hope you are too, as you are here. The people of Brazil, well, it's amazing. So thank you so much for making us feel so welcome. We are so grateful, and I'm particularly grateful to my friend Patricia, who, as Isaac Newton said, hasn't made her life about an explanation, but an exclamation. So You're not explaining, you are exclaiming, and we hope we can continue to do that in the coming year.
Thank you so much. You gave a great idea to the team for a new meme to me. Every day I get a meme. I'm exclaiming now. It's the next one. So, Lisbeth talked about people. Mattia talked a little bit about finance. And Nick showed us that green economy, green growth is what really matters in this world now, and Brazil is at the center of that. We couldn't close this first part about how we are, why we are so engaged at COP and what really matters without listening to Amar. And I would love your 2 minutes, Amar, to also talk a little bit about adaptation, because this is also the COP of adaptation. And I feel that we are in a battle that's twofolded. We need more money, period, but we also need money that goes stamped directly to the new reality that we are already facing. And thank you again for all the work you're doing as one of the experts in the panel that's helping the Minister of Finance. Thank you, Amar.
Thank you. So, we are a band of brothers with Nick and Mattia. So I just want to say we have a big sister here, Eleanor. She's actually the boss who runs us all. So, so let me just say that, I was just reflecting and saying, what are the things that we will really remember about Belém? And we will certainly remember the Amazon. Anybody who encounters it is touched in a way that it's one of those things that's really moving in spirit. And as Lisbeth said, it's so important. I mean, this simple fact that she said, which is the Amazon spews out more water than all the river systems of the world, but it actually brings back that water. It's a life system. The second thing I wanted to say is we really at this learned, and very much, from people here, Barbara Buchner, I don't know whether she's still here, the importance, and, Giuliano and others who've been working on the restoration, the reforestation, and, the protection agenda. And when you look at it, one thing that I've really, really been struck by is how so little money can produce so much in the natural capital space. So for me, one of the big takeaways of Belém is I'm so glad that the COP happened here, because it has all woken us up to natural capital. So that's my first big takeaway. And the person, I don't know whether he's here somewhere, Guido, but Guido is the one who really brought that. I think he's actually partying in Rio, I have a feeling. But he brought that agenda. The other agenda that has really come to the forefront this year is resilience. Not just adaptation, but resilience. The importance of resilience, the huge payoffs from resilience, and in some sense, the challenges around financing of resilience. We've seen that in Brazil in very, very real lifetime. When we were in this conference center and the rains opened up and the tornadoes came, you realize why resilience is so important. But look at what happened in Jamaica. Look at what happened after Melissa. The cost to Jamaica is almost 30% of GDP. So, we can avoid that if we invest in resilience. And not only as a country, but we need solidarity so that all countries come together to help with resilience. It's not about one country at a time, and particularly, again, borrowing from what Lisbeth said, this is ultimately about people. I was really struck in an example from very, very far away from here in Bangladesh, that households in Bangladesh spend more on adaptation and resilience than the government or external assistance. It's an extraordinary statistic to think about, that the people who are the most disadvantaged are actually doing the most in terms of their own resilience, and that we, the international community and governments really need to step up. So I want to end with one thing that is, Guido, there you are. I was just singing your praises, sorry. So I just want to end with one thing about this is actually in the world that we are living in, with all the divisions and all the kind of noise that we have. Brazil has brought hope, real hope to this. Through its leadership, it hasn't shied away from being courageous at a time when, climate is a dirty word in many places. So I do think that this COP really should be the 195 minus 1 COP. So let's go that way and let's make the difference we can.
Thank you so much, Amar. So we learned a little bit about how the global frameworks are being set around climate, economy, fighting inequalities, adaptation, and people. So let's land it in Brazil with people who are really leading us in this journey here and showing in practice that this is really the COP of implementation. So I will call Mário Gouveia now from the Treasury. Nick talked about the Ministry of Finance. Mário, I would say he did something that was quite impressive. In the beginning of this journey, everybody was saying, no one's going to invest in Brazil. We need to de-risk FX rates and so and so. He listened to everyone, every single person who complained, and he came back with solutions. So less than 1 year later, Mário, how many billions of dollars we have out from the Eco-Invest in total? Now $13 billion only, and growing. $14 billion and growing. So we'll pass the word to you to share with us how you made this happen.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you for everybody to stay here. I would like to start in 2008 or 2009. I don't remember anymore, but I have the privilege to have you, Sir Nick Stern, Minister of Finance, present to us your ideas with your report. And since from there, for me, it's completely clear that this agenda, the adaptation and mitigation, is an agenda of economic issues. So 15 years passed, and now you have approved one carbon market, and you have the taxonomy, and you have present TFFF, that is a very interesting and elaborated instrument to bring money to pay for environmental service. And I am very proud to talk about a little bit about this program that we are running in Ministry of Finance that is called Eco-Invest. This Eco-Invest is just a blended finance unit within the National Treasury. So you use public funds in a catalytic way to push private investment, to catalyze private investments in these fields of mitigation and adaptation. We have these 2 successful auctions that you did in the last year and in this year, and could be one kind of solution that we could consider it as one more instrument to put together in this toolbox to reach this 1.3 trillion as investment that is required, as mentioned. So I think it's not necessary to talk about, it's not the time to talk the details about the Eco-Invest, but I would like to talk about this history, and I am very grateful. I would like to say thank you with my team that is here, and you cannot do anything alone. We need to do together.
Thank you, Mario. The idea is to leave everybody curious. So you're doing well, guys, because then we have a lot of topics to discuss in our happy hour. Well, we've also talked a lot about how energy is going to be critical in this journey. We have this battle between bioenergy and electrification, whether we have a dilemma or not between food security and energy security. In Brazil, we have almost 90 million hectares of degraded land. That means that we have enough land to produce both food and energy and become the powerhouse to the world. With that, I want to listen to our Secretary, Mariana Spessi, who is going to share with us what's being done and implemented in Brazil in this area. Thank you, Mariana.
Thank you so much, Patricia, and good night, good evening to everyone. For me, today is a very special day, especially because today we are celebrating a very successful program that we have here in Brazil, that is the Pro Alcohol, that has started our journey on the utilization of bioethanol in Brazil as a fuel. And we are celebrating 50 years of this program today. 50 years ago, we have started our journey, and now we are showcasing to the world how biofuels can also be a solution for this energy transition. And definitely, the numbers are impressive. And this is something that when we took stock of all the things that we have done so far, it's pretty clear that the bioethanol can contribute and be the solution for many developing countries as well. Not the only one, that's not the case. We are not just picking one solution and telling to the world that you should take it alone. That's not the case, but to showcase that in addition to all the other opportunities and solutions that we have, biofuels can also have a role to play. And the most impressive thing is that we are taking this journey on the bioethanol and other biofuels to also adopt into another hard-to-abate sectors. So here in Brazil, we have been using biofuels as power generation as well for many power facilities. We also are considering to take new opportunities for isolated systems, for example, where we still rely on diesel. And this is a reality, for example, that you see in many locations in the Amazon region, where we cannot reach many communities by the transmission lines and so forth due to the forest and also the preservation that we should take care about. But definitely we need and we have the solutions to scale up. And the numbers, as I told you, are impressive. But here we are to showcase to the world that it is possible to pave the way towards a sustainable future. And that's why Brazil has presented to the international community the Belém 4 times pledge. I think you have heard of it. It's something that we have proposed, President Lula proposed during the Leader Summit last week. And this is something that we are looking for partners, countries to endorse this declaration that aims to have sustainable fuels as part of the solutions. In order to transition away from fossil fuels, we will need to have alternatives, and we have biofuels, low emissions hydrogen, synthetic fuels, and other solutions that should be part of this. And definitely, we count on this international community to help us on that. Talking a little bit more of the national context, on the Brazilian context, we also have launched today 2 important regulations that will pave the way for this new moment of the energy transition in Brazil. It is important to say that we already have 50% of our energy matrix composed by renewables. And this is something that's quite different from what we see in many other places. But we still want more. And we are looking for new solutions and opportunities for aviations, maritime, and other end uses. And definitely the Fuels of the Future law, which is approved last year, we have been adding new regulations, and today we have launched a public consultation for sustainable aviation fuels, the decree that we are probably going to approve in some weeks, and also for carbon capture and storage, due to the fact that this is going to be hugely necessary for Brazil's goals in climate and the NDC. So I hope you all can join our endeavor, and definitely we are really happy to see. I think we have showcased to the world the importance of mutirão. Everybody learned about mutirão, and this is why we are here today, and thank you all for joining us in this journey.
Thank you. We have to close in 5 minutes, so I will speed up here. But this is the COP in nature, so we need to talk about nature. And there is one thing that we are fighting for, which is the Tropical Forever Facility Fund. The name is long, but the relevance is even more important. So I will ask André Aquino. He thought you'd, go away without talking here, but please, André, we really want to hear from you. Make your pitch,
My pitch is it's going to be very quick because there's an amazing bar there, and I'm sure everybody's thirsty, as I am. But thank you a lot. I actually would like to take this opportunity first and foremost to thank Systemic. I mean, Systemic has been helping the Secretariat of the TFFF from the beginning of this, and it's been an amazing journey. I think in 12 months, we did so much work to bring developing countries together, investors, private sector, indigenous people, local communities, and it has led to a massive result. So we are very glad that last Thursday, President Lula actually launched the TFFF, and not only launched the TFFF, we got pledges for capitalization that added up to 5.5 billion, plus Germany that was shy, didn't say how much, but their chancellor said it's going to be a considerable amount. So important achievement that has really, I like to think that has really added the positive energy with which we started the COP, and hopefully we also end the COP because that's even more important. The TFFF is a facility, as you know, to pay for standing forests, simple mathematics, a dollar price per hectare of forest standing, all forests in a country as long as countries meet certain criteria. And the financial structure of this is extremely interesting. It's a blended finance mechanism that basically 20% of the funding is expected to come from public sources to leverage more or less 80% from the private sector. I think we are off to a good start. It's a long way. Next year is going to be a busy year also in terms of fundraising. We really need all of you. There are several of you, including Lord Nick Stern, that has been what we call friends of TFFF. By the way, the UK is a special case in this whole conversation. And we really need this to continue because getting the private sector to really understand and see the value of what we are offering. From a financial side, it's a very simple bond that will be issued. But the nature behind it, I believe, will still require work. So Naoko as well, helping in Japan, in other countries in Asia. So it is really, I like to say, it is really a mutirão to get us there. We look forward to having you here. And please enjoy our nature, enjoy our people, enjoy COP, enjoy Belém, enjoy the Amazon. Thank you.
Valeu. Well, André talked a lot about nature, the importance of TFFF. He mentioned Naoko. Naoko is one of the planetary guardians. Very important role. Please come here, Naoko. And she's been doing an amazing job together with Guido to promote nature in the balance sheet. So I will ask them for their minute of remarks before we close officially this session. Naoko, please. You've been, everyone mentioned you here, and you're always so humble, crossing the world back and forth, promoting nature in the balance sheet. Welcome, Guido and Naoko.
So we're going to do a double act now. Naoko, you start. No. So we're going to keep this very brief because we're between you and drinks. It's an investment agenda. TFFF is a fantastic start. It puts nature on the balance sheet of countries. It's not enough. And so we need to do what?
Well, climate and nature has been so deeply integrated, but for whatever reason, nature hasn't been really recognized as an investable growth asset. So that's we need a roadmap, how to kind of put the full value of natural capital onto the economic decision making. So not only just talking about nature, it's important. We actually came up with a kind of roadmap, how to evaluate the value of nature, not only valuation, how to bring it to the financial statement. That's a big jump. But don't worry, we have a good roadmap, and together with many partners, valuation is there, the tools are there, that the partners are here for the investment on the community, the Ministry of Finance, the central bank, regulators, and the rating agencies. Then IMF, your work on this, and it's so important. So important thing is that we just need to bring those allies together and coordinate this entire ecosystem, the marching to the goal, which is nature on the balance sheet. So with that, you close.
I think we're closing. I think maybe just to say one thing I really enjoy is coming to Brazil because there is this positive energy. Things are moving. I don't live in a place where there's all that much positive energy, and there is so much innovation happening. So we're going to be working with banks to really integrate natural capital, nature risk into credit, into investment decisions. We're working with governments. Uganda, Sam, you must be somewhere here. You're leading the way on putting nature on the sovereign balance sheet into your macro fiscal framework. And let's come together next year, either here in Australia, and celebrate the successes.
I just would like to thank Nick and Amal, who gave us this opportunity to highlight the potential value of the nature, natural capital to the humanity. So that is a really a great appreciation from our side to all of you. Thank you so much.
Well, guys, final one, the most important one in the end. Aya means ancestral spirit. Before all of us were here, there were very savvy people here already who are protecting the land that is in this forest. This bracelet, many people ask where it comes from. It comes from Acre, from the Yawanawa community. And it happens that a very good friend of mine came here with Nainawa from the Yawanawa, and I asked him to close this session so that we can honor our ancestrality and remember why we are here. So Nainawa and João, good friend who is here fighting also to remember the work that we need to be doing, the real one that we need to be doing. Thank you, João. Thank you, Nainawa.
Olá, boa noite.
Good evening.
Eu sou Nainawa Yawanawa.
My name is Nainawa Yawanawa.
Sou indígena lá da terra indígena do Rio Gregório, no Acre.
I'm from the indigenous nation of the indigenous land of Gregory River.
Venho aqui representando as nossas maiores lideranças espirituais.
I'm here representing the greatest indigenous chiefs of our nation.
Nishiwaka Yawanawa, pajé, e Putanin Yawanawa, nossa pajé, que estão na floresta, protegendo e cuidando, juntamente com todo o nosso povo.
Nishiwaka and Putani Yawanawa, they're medicine men, medicine women, and chiefs of the Yawanawa nation over there, protecting our nation and our territory.
Parabenizar a equipe da COP, muito bem organizado.
Congratulate COP team for a very well organized event.
E dizer que nós, povos indígenas, somos os maiores defensores da floresta.
We indigenous nations are the greatest, the ones that defend the forest.
E precisamos do apoio de todos vocês.
And we need your support.
Para que a floresta continue em pé.
So that this forest may keep standing.
Para que todos os animais continuem vivendo.
May the animals keep living.
E para que a vida permaneça forte.
And that life may go on.
Ela precisa de proteção.
It needs protection.
E nós, povos indígenas, estamos aqui para proteger.
And we indigenous nations are here to protect.
E precisamos do apoio de vocês.
We need your support.
Dos recursos que vão ser investidos possam chegar até o nosso território.
May all these investments really reach our territories.
Porque nós somos verdadeiros defensores da floresta para que ela permaneça em pé.
Because we're the ones that really defend the forest so that it may keep standing.
Agradeço pela oportunidade. Também deixo o convite para quem quiser nos apoiar. Nós temos aqui o Tia João.
And I thank you for the invitation, and I thank you for the ones that may support us. He mentioned me, João, who can be speaking about it.
E dizer que a nossa aldeia, o nosso território, está de portas abertas para receber qualquer um de vocês que queiram nos visitar.
And I'd like to say that our villages, our territories are open for any one of you who wish to come and visit.
Os nossos maiores defensores são os pajé, que nos ensinam a nossa juventude, as nossas crianças, a preservar desde criança.
The greatest defenders of the forest are our medicine men and medicine women who teaches our children to defend the forest since they are very young.
Nos ajude a proteger a floresta, nos ajude a proteger o mundo.
Help us protect the forest and the world.
Precisamos da ajuda de cada um de vocês. Agradeço de coração pela oportunidade.
We need your help and I thank you for the opportunity.
Parabéns mais uma vez pela organização.
Congratulations again for the organization.
Obrigado.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will pass the word to Marília to close our session, but before I do so, I would like to thank everyone who is here. Lisbeth said, I loved that you said that I'm exclaimer, but nobody does anything alone. Many people say, oh my God, you do so many things, so now you know the secret sauce. Make sure you're always learning from the most amazing, inspiring, and generous people in the world. Together, we can change the reality and we can make this COP a really important moment to change our history. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And André said that we have a bar here, and we have a bar, wine, champagne, ice cream, so enjoy your night. Muito obrigada a todos que vieram. O André disse que a gente tem um bar, a gente tem bar, tem champanhe, tem sorvetes regionais, então aproveitem a noite. Muito obrigada por virem à Casa Esfera. Sejam muito bem-vindos.